Get some analysis on all of this. Former Ambassador Kurt Volker joins the program once again right now. But thank you, sir, for coming on. I want to talk to you about the attack in Russia and Ukraine. We have so much experience in a moment. But first, your reaction to Israel canceling this trip to the U.S. What do you make of it?
Well, it's a little unconvincing for John Kirby to say that this is not a change in policy, because up until now, the U.S. has blocked resolutions at the UN Security Council that would have required a ceasefire without it being tied to the release of hostages. Here, this linkage has been broken. They're both demanded, release hostages and have a ceasefire. But it is an independent call on Israel to have an immediate ceasefire. This is new to allow such a resolution to go through. So I don't think it's surprising that Israel wanted to react to this in some way and say, hey, we noticed what you did. We don't like what you did. And we have to now talk about what that means. So I'm not at all surprised that we have this little contretemps right now.
I think that's a fair analysis, because you're right. There were at least, I believe it was 3 occasions where the U.S. used its veto power in the Security Council. So if you're the United States or the White House, why not come out and just say, hey, listen, we've changed our thinking on this. And in other circumstances, they've said exactly that, the yes. President's watched and he says, you know what, I don't like the way this is going. And now I used to think this and now I think that. What do you think of the policy itself, acknowledging that you're right, it's changed?
Well, actually, I think the previous policy was the right one. The previous policy was to not let the UN become a propaganda tool against Israel. Don't let people put forward resolutions there that are one-sided, that only blame Israel. You've got to also call out Hamas for the attacks that they have done, say that they have no business holding these hostages. Those need to be released. And on that basis, we would support Israel having a ceasefire and trying to bring some peace and relief to the population.
The 2 things. Number one, the situation on the ground has changed or progressed dramatically, wouldn't you acknowledge, in terms of the humanitarian situation in Gaza? So that could lead to a different policy approach from that standpoint. But the other thing that you'd have to acknowledge is that the political situation for the president, it has to be part of this as well. It's an election year, and he's facing a lot of pressure on this issue.
Well, I think you put your finger on it, because he's seeing that within his own party, there are people who are very unhappy with the degree of support for Israel as compared to the degree of concern about Palestinian civilians. And so he is trying to respond to that by modulating this policy, while, as we just heard, claiming that they're not modulating the policy. But I think that is reasonable. I would also say you're absolutely right. The humanitarian situation for the civilian population in Gaza has gotten much, much worse. And it is entirely appropriate for us to be telling Israel, you've got to do more, you've got to do more. But we can't do that without the context of saying Hamas has got to stop. They need to lay down arms. They need to give up the hostages. We need to bring some relief to the people.
All right, let's shift gears for a moment, Ambassador, and talk about this terrible attack that we covered Friday in Russia at the concert hall. Death toll goes up. Vladimir Putin finally acknowledges that, yeah, it was radical Islamists, to use his quote earlier, that had carried this out. So that brings us to this group, ISIS-K. Who's ISIS-K in terms of, we've been... we talked the last hour, and I was saying, we haven't talked about ISIS in general as much in the last few years. We were told, we'd made progress and maybe either defeated or diminished ISIS. Now you have this offshoot organization that has done some real damage.
Yeah. Well, first off, what is ISIS-K? ISIS is a disaggregated entity. It is people who share a belief that there should be a single Islamic state, a single Islamic caliphate in the world. And so anyone can take up arms and take up that cause and do what they want. It's not necessarily centrally controlled. The second thing is that we actually don't know for sure that this was ISIS-K or a branch of ISIS that actually did this. We know that there's a group that claimed responsibility. You saw these people that the Russians arrested. They don't look like trained and professional terrorists. And they're just claiming, even in the videos that the Russians released, that they were just being offered money by somebody, and they don't know who the somebody was. So there's a lot more to this story that we don't know. What we do know, however, is that Putin is using this attack in order to blame Ukraine,
Yeah.
saying that these people wanted to flee there. And he's using it also, or will use it also, to justify further crackdown on Muslim regions inside Russia and on greater mobilization of Russian citizens into the armed forces.
So him even bringing up Ukraine, to your point, saying that these guys, even if they were, quote unquote, to use Putin's quote, radical Islamists, they wanted to take off and go to Ukraine. How does that affect things, or does it on the ground in Ukraine at all, do you think?
Well, with Putin, you never have to ask yourself, what is he saying? You need to ask yourself, why is he saying it? And what he wants to do is justify increased mobilization of Russian citizens to get them into the army to go fight. And that has become increasingly unpopular in Russia. So he's using this attack as an explanation for why we need to do that. So linking it to Ukraine in that way is a way of him strengthening his own argument.
Right. Presented no evidence of that, but that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. The reality, by the way, the Russia-Ukraine border is absolutely 100% closed. They're fighting a war.
Right.
And so
Right.
they've both got it mined. They've both got it manned with armed troops. Nobody is driving through that border.
Right. That's an interesting look into his motivation. So, Ambassador, thank you. Ambassador Kurt Volker with us today.